Hello, this is Monday with the Mayor. However, we won't be having the Mayor of Jasper, Terry Seitz, with us today. Instead, we've made our way to the police department to talk with the new face of the police department. And first of all, we're going to talk with the new chief, Nathan Schmidt. Then we'll be talking with the assistant chief, Pearson. And then we'll be talking with the sergeant, Adam Bauer. Chief, we're going to start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your history here with the police department.
Well, I'm born and raised in Jasper, Indiana, and I returned to Jasper in 2001 to be a police officer here, and kind of just gone from there. You know, I went to sergeant, and then I was assistant chief under two different chiefs, and then obviously I'm the chief now. So.
Well, now that you're the new chief, what are some of have your goals changed, or is it all basically still the same? It's police work.
You know, it's basically the same. It's police work, you know, and my goal is the same goal as every other chief that's been here before me, and that's to provide the best law enforcement service to the community of Jasper that we can.
Okay. What is one of the biggest challenges you think you have in dealing with the public, or things that you'd like the public to know that is a challenge for police officers in Jasper?
You know, obviously, just the nature of what we do here at the police department is hard for these guys and our patrolmen. You know, we have some serious crimes that happen in our community. And so it's hard for them to deal with, let's say, a child abuse or something like that, and then go and have to deal with a dog complaint. You know, it's two different things. A lot of emotions run through, you know, and obviously our officers have trouble sometimes making those adjustments. So that's what's difficult, you know. In a bigger city or something like that, I think it's easy when you're violent crimes or serious crimes, everything. But we have to, we live in the community, so we have to provide quality of life type calls too. So it's hard to make adjustments, I think, sometimes for the officers to go from something serious and then be compassionate when somebody has a complaint that maybe not as bad, but after what the officer just dealt with, it's hard to, you know, to be sympathetic because the neighbor is moving the property line a little bit, you know. So it's important, don't get me wrong, but, you know, because obviously what's a big deal to one person might not be a big deal to another person. So, you know, we have to be compassionate with people who have those complaints, but, you know, and just kind of keeping an even temper, you know, and I shouldn't say temper, I would say just stay an even keel to, you know, be sympathetic with those issues, you know, even though we just dealt with something maybe that's a little bit more serious, you know.
Well, let me say, I just want to say thanks to police officers in Jasper Police Department, because that is a tough job. I don't think a lot of us realize the change in what your pattern can be throughout the day, and like you mentioned,
highs and lows, and you know, it is, and it's a emotional roller coaster and an adrenaline rush 1 second to, you know, not, and so it's hard for officers to make that adjustment. You know, I guess one thing I want to say to citizens is that we are normal people, and you know, we really do enjoy talking with the public and embracing the public, and you know, we welcome anybody to come up and talk to us, you know, and it's important that people remember that, you know, we want to be approachable, even though sometimes our mind might not be there, and we seem approachable. We are, you know, I work with the greatest people in the world, in the city, and you know, and I think it's these guys, the guys that work for this police department are great guys. They care about the city. They care about the police department. They care about their neighbors and their family. And you know, even though we might not seem approachable, I hope we are, you know, and I know we are. It's just come up and talk to us.
Well, Chief Schmidt, thank you very much. We're gonna move down the line here a little bit. Now we're going to talk with the assistant chief, Pearson, and tell us a little bit of your history.
I grew up here as well, like the chief said. I began my career here in 2004. I started in dispatch. I was in dispatch for about a year. Then I got hired as a police officer in 2005. So I've served 2005 till roughly 2015 as a patrol officer, and then I was promoted to sergeant for basically 2 years, and then I was given this opportunity.
Well, good luck with it. Now let's find out, what do you think are the bigger challenges for the Jasper Police Department?
And a lot of mine go with the chief as far as what he was saying, and we want to be approachable, and we're just as much a member of this community than anybody else and everybody else. So we want our kids going to good schools and safe schools and everything like that. So that's one of the big things that I harp on, is just be approachable and get out there and talk to people.
I'm going to ask you a silly question, okay? If I were to get pulled over, which I don't, but if I were to happen to get pulled over, what should I have? What are some things I should do? Should I stick my hands out the window? Should I go to the glove compartment to get the registration right away? Or is it best just to sit there until you get there?
Yeah, just sit there till you get there, hands on the steering wheel, roll down your window, and wait for us. It's the best thing you can do.
And generally, it could be something as simple as you're going to just let me know my tail light's out, which is thankfully you do.
Right. Yeah, it could be as simple as us walking up to the window and say, hey, you got a tail light out, just get that fixed, and it could be a little bit more.
Okay, well, let's hope that I won't be seeing you in the future. Or if I do, I'll see you in a good way. Now let's move on to Sergeant Adam Bauer. And Sergeant, you also are the canine. Not that you are the canine, but you are the canine unit. Is that correct?
I am. I'm the canine unit for the police department. Dog handler, whatever you want to call me.
Okay. If you could tell us a little of your history.
I moved to Jasper in 2001. I'm not from here like these guys. I grew up in northwestern Indiana. I got hired by the police department in 2003. I went to the academy that year, patrol ever since then until 2013 when I became the canine handler, which I was still a patrol officer with just with a dog. And then as of late, I was recently promoted to sergeant, and it's literally day 2 on the job.
All right. Now, well, let's talk about what you think are some challenges, but you can't use the answer that these two have used. What do you think is a challenge for this community to know?
I'm going to revert back to what I've done for the past 4 years, and that's drugs. Drugs are huge and rampant in this community. It's not well known by a lot of people, but by the circle that it involves, it definitely is. Methamphetamine and the opioid crisis that we see here it's on the climb. We're central between Louisville and Evansville, and those are 2 major hubs that drugs are coming into and then farmed out to the smaller communities. And that in and of itself causes a lot of other crimes, your thefts and your domestics and some of the heavier crimes that we have to deal with day in and day out.
Now, one more thing to wrap up the show is you are the coordinator for the Cops and Kids program, the old shop for a cop. And so you accept donations. How can somebody make a donation for you to help these kids?
They can bring a donation to the Jasper Police Department. They can give one to any of their local law enforcement agencies or police officers. I just ask that if you write a check, make it out to Cops and Kids, and then we'll get it to the right place.
All right. Well, thank you very much. This has been not the Monday with the Mayor, although normally this is Monday with the Mayor. Terry Seitz said, let's talk to the police department today. And so we want to thank the Police Chief Nathan Schmidt, Assistant Chief Aaron Pearson, and Sergeant Adam Bauer. Thank you for watching WJTS Inform. We'll be back with more news in a moment.